Hello crafters, this is Yana Smakula for SimonsSaysStamp.com. Welcome back for another Hippity for Yana episode. In this video, I'm creating easy to make interactive Easter cards using Simon Says Stamp new Hippity Hoppity stamp set. All supplies I'm using in this video are listed and linked in the video description below. Let's jump right in. So here I have my mini MISTI stamping tool and a sheet of Simon Says Stamp 130-pound cardstock already placed inside my MISTI. You guys know how much I love this paper for anything that has to do with stamping, alcohol marker coloring, and then die cutting. Now I also have the new Hippity Hoppity stamp set from Simon. It is absolutely adorable, and I think it is just perfect for fun and quirky Easter cards. This is like build your own Easter bunny set. You have the front of the bunny and the back of the bunny and all the other images that you'd need to create your critter. I'm first going to do all of my stamping. I'll then die cut all of the pieces out. And by the way, there is a coordinating die set available that you can use to cut every single image in this set. I'm first stamping these images using Memento TUXEDO black ink. This is alcohol marker friendly ink. Now I won't be doing a lot of coloring. I will keep these bunnies mostly white, but I do plan to add a little bit of color inside the ears and then some color to the heart-shaped noses. So I do need to make sure that I use the kind of ink that is not going to bleed when it comes in contact with alcohol markers. Now I'm stamping more images that I need. I actually wanted to stamp every single image from this set and just play and have fun creating different bunny faces. And like I said, this stamp set gives you multiple options, so it's a really cool and versatile set. And by the way, if you think about it, you can also use these eyes, the noses, and the whiskers for other critters. You don't necessarily have to make a bunny. If you want to really get creative, you can adapt these to create a kitty or even a puppy. I also stamped the Easter greetings sentiment. I did cut it apart, so I cut the stamp apart as I wanted to have a two-line sentiment, a shorter and a taller sentiment instead of a one-line longer sentiment. And I stamped this in VersaFine ONYX black ink. I love this paper for any black stamping where there is no alcohol coloring. By the way, I recently moved and I'm filming this in my new location. This is my first video in my new location, so bear with me if you see any glitches or anything like a shaky table or that sort of thing. I will hopefully have it sorted in time for my next video. Next, I used coordinating dies, and luckily there are dies for every single image in this set, and that makes it very easy to cut everything out. By the way, you can stamp the bunny face directly onto the egg shape. You don't have to stamp the images separately and cut them out. You can stamp the eyes and the nose directly. I wanted to cut all of the images out to be able to play and test all the various face combinations, try different shape eyes with the different style noses and whiskers. Now, for some of these dies, because these aren't open dies, I couldn't see through them to align over my stamped images, so I created little templates for myself by cutting the die into a piece of paper, and then I used the paper templates to align that opening over the stamped image, and then I added and aligned my die over it. So that's an easy way to do it. I used my Platinum 6 die cutting and embossing machine, and I cut all of these out. So here are all of the pieces. There is a front and a back to this bunny. So this allows you to make a double-sided bunny ornament or a place card or a spinning bunny on your card. So lots and lots of options. I love it when the die cuts have a front image and then a back image. And that makes it a lot more versatile and easier to use for 3D projects. I don't really do a lot of 3D paper projects, but looking at this adorable bunny, I think it would be super cute to create a mini bunny shaped card and use those cards as placeholders for Easter table setting. What do you think? Wouldn't that be cute? I can already see it in my head. So loads of options for the bunny face. You can play with all of the different components to create different bunnies. I ended up having 3 different bunnies for my cards, and I love every single one of them, super adorable. And I feel like with the different faces, they kind of have different personalities to them. Next, I added some basic coloring and shading. I used Olo markers, and I just added a little bit of pink inside the ears using the R01 color, and also the same color to color the nose, as well as the R02 to create a slight color variation. Next, I used a warm gray marker to add a barely visible shading to the feet and also the base of the ears, and I just love the way this looks. You can do more coloring if you want, but with interactive cards, it's the interactivity that catches your attention, not the coloring, so I just did very basic and very simple coloring here. Next, I used a combination of thin foam adhesive squares, regular foam adhesive squares, and glue to assemble these bunny faces. So I added the eyes, next added the whiskers using glue. Now, this particular face did not have the nose, so I later added the nose using a pearl. So I made a small dimensional nose for this bunny, and you can see that on the photo. The other bunny, I added a heart-shaped nose and whiskers, and I used these what look like, I don't know, brows, I guess. I'm not really sure, but I used these little shapes as eyes. So this bunny looks very happy, and she's smiling and having a wonderful day. I also used coordinating die to cut the sentiments, and next I just trimmed the extra cardstock using scissors to create separate word die cuts. With the bunnies done, I moved on to creating a background for my cards. Now, I knew I wanted to use colored cardstock. I love this sea glass color, but I wanted to add some subtle pattern to the background. So I stamped the background using one of the stamps from the new Leaf Edges Cling stamp set. I love this set. It is brilliant because you have 2 different leaf edge designs in one set. So you can have 2 different, backgrounds. If you want to stamp a full background, you just stamp one design twice and it looks fantastic. So yay, love this set. I used the watermark embossing ink from Spellbinders, and I stamped this design onto Simon Says Stamp Sea Glass cardstock using my MISTI stamping tool. So this was very easy to do. I stamped the design once onto the bottom portion of the panel. I flipped the stamp, aligned it somewhat. You don't need to align it precisely. And then I stamped it again onto the top portion, completing the background for my card. And here, doesn't that look pretty? It's so subtle. It is just, perfect for a spring card. Okay, moving on. Like I said, I love to add interactivity to my cards, and my favorite way to do that is by using an action wobbler. I adore action wobblers, and I love cards with a wobbler on them. I thought it would be super fun to put these egg bunnies on a wobbler and let them wobble. Wobblers are super easy to use. They have adhesive on both sides. So you stick one side to the back of the element you want to move and stick the other side to the background. Now, wobblers come in different sizes. This is the mini size. You can probably also use the regular size wobbler here. This bunny is probably large enough for the regular size wobbler. I just happen to have smaller wobblers in my stash, so that's what I used. I then added the Easter greetings sentiment. I popped it up using foam adhesive, and I love how this looks. Now, I knew I wanted to add some small flowers to my bunnies. I wanted to decorate them a bit, so I used these Spellbinders Mini Blooms and Sprigs die set, and I die cut a bunch of flowers in different colors, spring colors. So I have yellow, pink, peach, and I also die cut leaves from green. Now, these are super, super tiny flowers, and you can use these exact flowers if you have this die set, or you can die cut some other flowers that you might have in your stash, use other dies that you might have in your stash, or you can even stamp and color some small flowers, or maybe even use some pre-made embellishments to decorate your bunnies. I think these bunnies look super adorable with the flowers, and the flowers add a nice pop of color too, because otherwise we don't really have a lot of color happening here. These cards are mostly white and light blue, so adding some colorful flowers sort of ties it all together and brightens up these cards. I then used white cardstock for the flower centers, but you can also use little gems if you want to have some sparkle on these projects. So here's a look at all of the bunny cards I have for you today. Again, I love how they move and wobble. Super adorable. I think they're perfect for spring, and I can't help but have a huge smile on my face when I play with them. And by the way, all of these cards are A2, so they measure 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Thanks for spending time with me today. I hope you like this idea. I hope you will pull out your action wobblers and we'll create some interactive wobbly cards. If you make a card inspired by this video, we'd love it if you shared your project online and tagged us in social media. We always enjoy seeing what you make. Thanks so much for joining me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.